All right. DE Starfort V3 post playtest speculation. That's going to be the gist of the video, and more importantly, what I'm going to change. I want to make a little bit of a point. I got so much varied feedback that it's really interesting to think how other people would go through it and actually like disassemble the feedback and make changes based on those suggestions and player experiences. I see this a lot where map makers, especially newer ones, don't really have a solid understanding or idea on what they want to make. And thus, when they get feedback on the level, they're very quick on making large changes and not really keeping like shapes and iconic locations from the map intact. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a location. It just has to be an angle, an idea, a timing, some sort of a concept like that really defines the map. And you just see quite often where map makers just kind of betray the core idea of the map. And I'm not speaking out of spite. I'm not speaking out of like jealousy or like wanting to know better. It's just something that really comes with time. And when you're making the map, you should always think of, all right, what do I want for this map to be? And really then making the map, blocking it out, playtesting it yourself, and really through just playing the game, you will get a feel for the certain map. And this is definitely something that, you know, it's so hard to describe, but when you get the feeling, you know, and it also helps you in the long run define when the map is ready, so that you don't get stuck within a particular map project of just iterating on it and then never finishing it. At some point, you have to conclude yourself that, okay, this is the map. I'm going to finish it. I'm not going to change it forever and ever and ever. And whatever comes after that, if people like it, they like it. If people don't like it, they don't like it. And then the map is just going to be fading into obscurity over the years. But you, as a map maker, have to have faith in your own designs, and you have to stick through, because that is what defines you. Okay, with that little sentimental gurgle out of the way, let's get to the actual map and the map changes that I'm going to impose on this little project. The feedback was varied, which I enjoy. I very much enjoy sifting through the feedback for the things that I agree and I more importantly don't agree, and try to really think in my mind, there, like, is the person giving the feedback, can I understand their point of view, and can I somehow make the, like, boil down the experience or the feedback into an experience, and then make it so that experience is more fun in a grand scale of things. What I mean here, for example, this is a very good explanation, or actually a little position to show it. 24-1 was giving feedback that this angle is very busy. There's not enough cover and quite a lot going on. And taking this part, for example, how I could make this more of a safe approach is limiting the player's movement here so that they cannot wide swing on an accident. So how to do that? I could indent this wall with a little bit of like an inseam, so that it blocks off the player's movement, so that the player, or like the level geometry kind of forces you, if you're hugging the back wall, it forces you to stop when you're swinging like this, right? Small things like that. Then another thing over here, I could do the exact same thing of like stretching this box so that it comes here, so that if you're peeking the wide or the back wall, hugging the back wall, you will get stopped by the box right up here. So you don't as a player, you don't have to worry about doing a wide swing. Also, some sort of a thing that I could do is add a little lip back there that you could stand on to get a little bit nicer of a double peak angle. And also the area could be wider. I think, and this is by design, these areas are kind of tiny. And I do want for players to, because there will be defensive smoke from CT, and I do want for the players to get patient and really, like, you know, inch their way forward from the main position and really use the space what they have to their advantage. But that's kind of like this being so tiny kind of contrasts well the middle. And once you are out of the positions, you have all this space to work with. Also, one thing that I definitely enjoyed a lot, and this was also a couple of people had feedback on, was taking middle aggressively as CT. Double molly, there and there. It requires 2 CTs. And I think now, whichever point you choose, you can smoke one of them or smoke both. With 2 players, you can do that. And then this guy, this front guy, can go here and keep watching both of these as the other guy pushes up here and gets and supports the tower player from watching this upper area here. Or even goes into this corner right here. Like, this is super defensive, super safe position to watch the upper. So that was a dynamic that I enjoyed of CTs taking mid with early round aggression. And that is a dynamic with players learning how to play the map. Will only get enforced. And yeah, I want for these to be obvious spots for very aggressive and offensive utility usage for the CTs, right? And also defensive for terrorists. If there's a mid rush, molly that off, and you don't have to worry about the flank at all. Stuff like that. Also, this is like a great point to kind of retouch the point that I made at the start of the video of, like, when you recognize these sorts of dynamics, you have to, in your mind, as the map maker of the level, you have to decide, is this something that I want to build upon? Like, do I want to make this dynamic of early CT aggression with utility? Do I want to build up on that, or do I want to give it up? And through the changes, if you want to keep with this, you decide if you want to build up on it. Do I then make a change into the mid map, like making this wider, or making this so that I cannot molly that early round? That will betray the original idea of me wanting very clear positions for CTs to molly. Or this being like impossible for CTs to push or something, like a one-way for CTs. Or mid timings changing so that CTs cannot peek this at all. And it's just like, you know, all those little things. I have to recognize what will break the dynamic that I'm trying to enforce in the map. And then I have to protect it through the map's changes, right? Couple other positions. Oh, people kind of liked, or I'm surprised that players like didn't hate this. In my mind, like this just looks kind of lazy. And I added this box here, like couple probably a day before the playtest. I was like, well, it's probably going to be nice that if there's a box for terrorists to hold around. And then I realized, oh, you can boost up on this box, and you can, like, I didn't even think of this. You can boost and see over the of the roof up until here, and as a T lurk, you could just boost the player up here, and everyone else is around B, and you can hold the aggressive flank over here as a T. And then this roof was already here. I had it like textured and whatnot, and I decided not to clip it because I honestly think that it's quite of a unique position in the mid, and it also just like gives a quick rotation as a CT as well. That's smoked. You can boost up here as a CT, and then now you have a quick flank. Obviously, you're taking a huge risk if you're not watching, like checking that back area there. Like, you know, you have to be wary of the close. But stuff like that. I think this area works well. Another area which kind of did what I intended. Like, I left this very bare and open so that players like terrorists would be vulnerable for the flank. Players didn't utilize this back area that much because it's not deep enough. It doesn't look like it's deep enough to fully cover a player. And then as well, like this back area here, you have such a bad visibility to cover this and to cover here that no one really stayed here. Like if there was T's covering, you can see it in the video, like a surprising amount of gunfights like happen over this sort of an angle and this arch. Not so much down here. Yeah, for this I definitely want to keep the fast flank dynamic but still offer like stronger position for the T's to hide over here. Okay, here is the biggest point, the most controversial point of the Starfort. This window. Okay. I'm not going to change it too much. My conclusion of it is that the options for utility to smoke it off are too few and far in between. So it's hard to actually, like, once you know, for example, like this smoke lineup, even that is like, it's so obscure, right? And even that's not perfect, but something like that. Once you know utility like this, it's going to help, but it's not obvious. So in the playtests, I'm never going to get the data if this thing works when this gets like smoked off every round or most of the rounds. I'm not going to get the data if this works really if the players are not utilizing the utility, okay? So I got good feedback on actually changing like this whole main coming out from here and then facing the arch, and a couple like that was Akande's feedback, and a couple other people that were like, yeah, positive, like, yeah, do that. But I think there's a more quaint and what's the word, elegant solution for this without me having to change too much, and you are looking at it, so as am I. This stack of boxes, this classic 2x4 stack of crates, okay? I mean 2x2, right? I am going to make a change of pushing this out this much, lowering it by 4 units or 8, whatever, so that from back here, see how you can almost see the arch of the window, and the first round that you peek up here, you're like, okay, there's a player and he kills you, okay, as a T, without no prior experience on the map. The second round, you're going to be a little bit more careful, and the chances are that after experiencing a traumatic death from a very counter-terrorist, heavy window position, very powerful position, you're going to remember that that's there. And I hope that the player will realize that, oh yeah, I can see the shape of the window, and I have cover. Like, just imagine the box a little bit over there, so I can see the arch of the window over the box. What this means is that with careful peeking, obviously the terrorist will have to be careful here, and even if there's a CT smoke over here, you will be able to do smoke like so. Wow. Smoke like so. That's even worse. Smoke like so. Okay. Please. Anyway, you'll be able to smoke it. Right? Just from noticing the shape of the window. That went in. Okay. I think already that will be quite a lot for the terrorist to be able to work with. A couple other things is one of the things that I definitely always give feedback on. But for some reason, I didn't really put much thought and focus onto them. Like headshot angles around the map are definitely apparent because of the verticality. I think Lamera or someone else put it very, very well. So yeah, I have solutions to fix these angles without taking the headshot angliness away. or without altering the geometry too much, or actually at all, I have a solution, and it's without like moving or without removing the geometry. I am going to add a couple things that will paste the geometry. So, for example, from this slope, you can have an angle all the way back down there, right? I want to block this off with a fence, a solid fence, much like this. That fence will be positioned carefully along over there and over there. L shape, okay? So that it will cover the angle all the way probably to up here. I will leave this position, this space here, unattended with the fence. So no fence over here. Maybe a little itty bitty box in the way of this position, so that you can use the box to be covered from this powerful angle. What this means is that when you're pushing from back here, you don't have to worry about this side unless someone's playing like on top of here, right? Then you will have to worry about it. But yeah, this angle I don't like that much, so blocking it off with the fence will deal, like up until here, will deal that, or will mean that I can use this wall and really figure out my bearings around this part of the map. And then once I'm ready, I can wide swing this, maybe even like crouch swing, and then I can focus from peeking behind the fence. I can peek the stair slope thing, right? Yeah, I think that's, you know, headshot angles like these, sometimes they are just inevitable. Just look at Dust 2, and you know, it's about player positioning. It's about knowing that it's there. It's about pacing. It's about you know, choosing your fights, stuff like that. And I don't want to remove them. I think they have a very good strength balancing dynamic to it. So the players down here should be disencouraged to peek up there, because they just lost like one of the most powerful positions in the map, and it's strong because it's elevation. You know, you have the high ground. You should have the advantage. Same thing here. I think the retaking of this bomb site is like, you know, you have the power when you're coming from above, and the players down here, they have to, like, you know, cover their back or try to get away from the bomb site or try to get even higher, which this is kind of like the holy grail of holding the bomb site aggression from like short and main and from CT and from everywhere else. So I don't want to take this part of the headshot angliness away completely. What I'm going to do, and this came from Alfred, I think, or Zadri. I think this was Alfred's feedback of pushing this yellow building a little bit forward, removing this lip, just so that short is just like kind of a skinny itsy bitsy part of the map that you just kind of you know, have to push out of. Yeah, that would mean that there's already like actually perfectly like this much less space that you have to clear for the headshot, and there would be only like this much of area that you have to worry about with the headshot. A point that I want to make also is that, like, if you are just in the middle of the bomb site and you get dealt with a CT headshot angle of like CT's peeking you like this, and you have to fight the head, then that just goes back to the argument of you choosing your fight wrong. Like, you are peeking a player, or like you're being exposed to a player who's possibly peeking you from higher ground, higher up. You are choosing to be disadvantaged, and that's enforced by the level design, right? Yeah. A couple quality of life changes. I'm going to make these different color. Sarin made a good point about this also. This jump being a little bit more obvious. I'm just gonna make it wider. I think that's it. I was worried about like this coming in or intervening with the gameplay, but I don't like it. Never caught any bullets because like players are not shooting next to it necessarily, and neither they are shooting from up here. And we will get to this whole part next. Quality of life changes. Yeah. This area, I think I got like feedback of this feels useless to take as a T. And I kind of agree because it's not very intuitive to land a smoke here. So I might shift this whole arch a little bit that way, so that this arch corresponds with this arch, and so that the this arch is also a little bit further this way, so there's more back area. But I also have to enforce the utility. Like I want for one Molotov to clear out the whole back, so we'll see what I do with that. But very small and nuanced changes. A little bit more space back here. Yeah. The issue with this, I think it was Zadri who made a very good point of, or Alfred, I keep confusing those two guys. It didn't really help that they were both in the last playtest. I think they were the color green, so I was also confusing them. Yeah, so CT retake utility, a very big point of flashbangs, smokes, mollies, and whatnot has to be like there has to be ample opportunity for those to be viable in more situations than, oh, I'm outside the house, I'm gonna flash pops, oh, I didn't get the use of it, right? Because I have to come here, or I have to like resort into flashing off of walls, and it's like trying to get them out. So also helping with the utility is just like adding a couple of skylights, adding a window here. Doesn't have to be even a window. It's just to cut out the roof a little bit more, making it a little bit lower. Also, the house will help. Yeah. I want to make a point about maps like integral. I don't even know if that's the right word, but like inherent design, and it's like ability around that design, or like the level geometry and its ability to use utility around it. So take for example the ramp on Nuke, for example, both entrances for CT Hell and the terrorist like lobby entrance from Radio, like they are both just practical tunnels like this, and then the wall arches up a little bit like that, and then you have another wall, and then the choke point, right? Your utility, like your ability to use utility is limited pretty much as a T when you're pushing. It's limited to trying to throw your utility through this door without the CT killing you, or try to bounce it off this back wall, or try to like land a smoke in the way, get a nicer angle, and throw a smoke behind that. Stuff like that. Like Valve didn't go through with opening up the ceiling of trophy and Radio to make like nades doable to the back of ramp, like from T-spawn. Like I think there's so much value in just limiting the player's ability to do like a basic thing, and then forcing them to make the situation upon themselves. I think this is not a situation like this is not one of those situations where I should be like just like stubborn and be like, oh well, deal with it, because this is too much. Players are not able to come up with like reliable utility in the midst of a round or a game or something like that. I have to make it so much easier for players to realize it, and then to be able to do it off the go. But yeah, this is not one of those situations where I'm stubborn with the layout and I have to enforce just player creativity. I want to make utility fun. Little thing here, I don't want for this angle to be a thing. I'm going to add a little window cover to this, so that imagine there being a door in the way here, a window cover in that respect, and it would be like swung in the way that it's swinging like this way, right? It's open, not all the way, it's like here. so that you cannot get this like wide angle down there. I'm fine if the angle like gets limited off up until like here. But yeah, Sarim wanted for me to be or me to keep like this funny jump loop, which it is fun. Shit, let me do that. Yeah, that's fun to do. So let's keep that in the map. Also, there was a cool jump. I mean, a cool boost. You can boost a player up there and out of the level, but unintended. I might keep this though. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to do. Like have a Spider-Man there, but you have to do it in the way that this guy jumps. This guy over here jumps over the crouching player underneath him. So it's very risky to do. But yeah, it's fun and rewarding, I think. Okay, then we nicely get to the CT. What do we even call that? CT bridge, elevated walk, catwalk, right? Some players, and I agree with this, that you kind of get stuck here. This gets smoked every round that the T's take A, and that's pretty nice for players to be, you know, realizing utility, like such obvious utility. It's good that they do it. What that means is for the players who gave me that feedback, or gave me this feedback, they experienced that it's too hard to now rotate back to do this jump. Oh my god, of course I'm failing it when I have to show it. To do this jump, or to rotate back here and then to get to heaven, right? They are finding themselves in this situation because even they are coming from here, in their mind, it doesn't register that this is a powerful position. Because let's face it, it's not enough of a powerful position for you to think of it as a viable retake position because it's so open. It's high ground, but this is even more high ground, and here the headshot angles are way better of a counter when it comes to peeking from here. So what I have to do is I have to make this a little bit more covered with, let's say, a barrel up in this corner. Yeah, stuff like that. That was just like an interesting thing to realize, that it's not really about this being hard or this being out in the way. The choice to end up in this position, the decision happens over here. Faster, the lower area is faster, and it's covered and safer, but you get stuck. The upper, it's more open, it's faster, and you get to the bomb site faster. Like when you're coming from here or here, right? Obviously, you're gonna get to the bomb site faster here, but it's worse, right? Because there's no cover, and you cannot use this height for your advantage because like no one is in the right mind is playing under here necessarily. And even then, if you want to clear it, you have to expose yourself to the rest of the bomb site. So giving a piece of cover here is a very good idea. And I wouldn't even, if I have a CT player here playing every round, or if a player CT player decides, oh look at that, nice. If a player CT player decides to play here as a default position to hold off A site, then I'm going to be happy. Like that's nice. A player found a default position to play, right? Something here has to happen with this box. I don't think that the box is situated in a way that it gives value much to the dynamic of retaking from here. Like this is nice to fight against these, but CT like terrorists don't really need to peek from the back of sight, and when they have the sight, they don't want to move. So this is kind of useless. What this was used by was T's coming up like this. As I mentioned before, like the heaven is so hard to deal with, or like so hard to come out of when you are dealt with or met with like a hard position back there, hard position back there, that thing upper, you know, behind here completely. So gotta spice up the CT spawn. Couple things also. I'm going to push this wall a little bit that way, so that it's flush with this wall. It will just look nicer, and it will have the knock-on effect of you as a player being more covered from mid when you're peeking here, right? And then it's more pace. Like, this is almost a 50-50 right now. If there's a player in the corner, they might, like, they will already see your shadow, and they might see your like leg or ass or shoulder or a gun, and they will try to shoot you. So if I can pace this area better, then that's a good change. Mid, okay. This bridge area, I am not going to change it too much. I'm going to shift these a little bit towards that way, so that the time to loop around or go around this part, it's half a second longer, right? I don't want to change this dynamic purely from the reason of maps like Overpass, maps like Mirage, Inferno as well, sometimes depends. Maps like Nuke, well, not really Nuke, but those core maps. Also, I would kind of say as well, like Ancient. Those maps all suffer from a little bit from like not being able to do anything on terrorist eco, and this map already, like, I think Twinny gave a good feedback, which I agree. This map already has a little bit of it. Twinny was a little bit more merciless, he said, or ruthless. He said that you might as well not even play when you're on eco as a T, which that's ridiculous. Imagine. Oh, a terrorist eco round. Well, I might as well just jump now. I think that there's ample opportunity with like how this is set up. Just buy a smoke this off, and then drop down here. You already get past mid, and then, you know, you can try your luck pushing CT or try to waterfall down to B, stuff like that. So what this does, this design here, this is one of the most powerful positions for the T's to push and gain. Like, if you get this top thing here, you can absolutely bypass mid, and you can, like, then you can push, gain some rotation over the A, and you have the overlook higher up, like entrance to A short, right? And also Twinny, I love you, don't worry about it. Anyway, so that's at least like one of the I wouldn't say cheap tricks that the T's can do, but it's always an opportunity and a possibility for terrorists rushing for here to be. And also, like, I just want for the like, I can't wait for the CT&T utility meta to develop a bit, so that players will find utility like this early round. And remember, like, you can boost up here. You can boost, throw a nade, nice molly, to block off the early T push. But yeah, I think it's right now as it is. It's a little bit too fast, but gonna make it a little bit slower. But yeah, and the timing, even like once players like figured out how to move here, which is not intuitive at all. I have to make this like way nicer. But yeah, once players figured out the movement here, and really there you can like, fuck. I cannot, apparently. But yeah, you can come here. You can do this molly before they peek. And that will already, like, even if you don't land it like that deep, landing it over here means that they cannot push now. And then you can double enforce it with like the over the top molly, or as I was trying to do, I was trying to land some sort of a molly over here. I don't think, actually I threw a couple of nades, I think. I never tried a molly. Mollies are too expensive to experiment with in the game, but anyway, you can do that. Yeah, stuff like that. I can't wait for the utility meta to evolve a bit more, and yeah, the players to find out things like that and actually like give feedback based on the utility developments in the utility side of things. But for now, I got tons and tons of good feedback, and I'm gonna be making like a little bit of more nuanced changes. Like, for example, like the Twinny feedback of of this being like hella awkward to peek out from. I just honestly think that it's the map being like so empty right now, like so clean and empty, that it's hard to realize where everything is. And also it was like the second game. I mean, Twinny played 3 games. We all played 3 games mostly. And coming after like 3 games, you can definitively tell already like if an angle feels bad, right? So yeah, I want to like make those sorts of things a little bit nicer. Also, this is just like the same here when you're peeking this and then peeking this. I would want there to be a little bit more nuance and a little bit more division between the possibility to peek these 2 angles. Maybe even like a double platform or some sort of a little lip that you can, if you want to peek this, you can peek from the front like so, and then from the back a little bit higher, peek the main, so that these 2 angles are not the same. Small things, or even cutting off, well, cutting off a little slight sliver like that, and then where the sliver, like the cut like that, gets cut off, I make a little pole or something that forces my player so that there's more division between these 2 angles anyway. So I have to wide swing from here, and now I'm peeking the angle when I'm covered from up there, right? Small things, small things. I think that's all. I might have missed something. Oh, back here. Got some couple people pointing out that this kind of felt too random. I agree. It is probably like the most naturally shaped area, and it just means that when you're peeking from here, the angle is not great. Like, this doesn't have great angle design, as I didn't really design it. I just made it. This was one of the first areas that I made from. Like, I made every single piece of this level's geometry is made from scratch. The original version of Flagstone, as it was called back then, doesn't exist anymore. So I pretty much just like remade the whole map. Where I started was the A-bomb site, and I really had to like this just has kept the same through me working on everything else in the map. And yeah, I definitely didn't think much about the angles here, but I'm gonna make it more standard, just like more clean. Everywhere else around the map, I'm going to have a little crane up in this area, a little block out of a submarine that apparently Nelson modeled already. Like, there's a cool submarine in the real place in Helsinki that Nelson already apparently modeled that exact submarine for another project. So that's gonna be fucking nice to have. But yeah, there's going to be a shipyard over here with like a drainage dock over here, and that's why we have a boat. There's going to be a ramp down to the same level, and it's going to make sense. Right now, it doesn't make a sense why there's a boat. Oh, it's the same boat. Look at that. So I'm going to make a different different kind of a boat for that. Also, some railings around T-spawn, you know, maybe limiting off the player's ability to go over here. No one actually went here. Which, why would you? Right? It is possible for a run boost to happen and actually boost the player down here. That's fun. Oh, this would be so broken, actually, like seeing the players over here. Yeah, but that's about it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for playtesting. Happy mapping, and take care. Get lots of sun. The most sun that you can get. And if you can't get sun, get vitamin D. Sleep well. Okay, bye bye. Love you.